And we're bingo.
Okay. Your mic may be a little hot. Er, Good evening. If you've joined our pregame show, we're getting ready, doing the stretching exercises, and the cheerleaders are warming up, and the guys are putting the Gatorade in the Gatorade machines. Can we say Gatorade, or is that use of a trademark?
I think it's trademarked.
No. Well, anyway,
Not allowed.
if you're here, you can skip ahead about 3 minutes or so, and
Well,
you'll
no, if
get
you're
to.
here, you can't skip ahead because time only goes so fast.
Oh,
You're only if you're here in the future, if it's not live.
the charge nurse can't make it yesterday.
Exactly. Or tomorrow.
All right. And it says we're live and everything. All right. Um, that's looking good. That's looking good. And
And
Jim's
everyone knows
here.
it.
Can you give Jim a massive cannibalism?
Absolutely.
Hey, July 3rd,
Massive cannibalism.
Uh, so do you have Jackasses for the night?
I'm on vacation.
For the 15th time, yes.
Okay. Just checking. Jim says that you need more volume.
Okay,
And
I turned it down because you just told me it was too hot.
I thought it was. Tim Turner says hi.
Even though the entire time that we've been doing the podcast, I have not changed the setting on my mic.
Oh. Yeah, well, Quizzer's here.
And I will just point out, if I had a sound mixer, I could make all this sound so much better. But I can't control it. I can only control it using OBS.
All right. Well, we got a comfy little show tonight. We got people showing up and everything.
Yeah.
I think it's the big party tomorrow. I think that nobody has to work this time, and Jim says your sound level is better.
There we go. See? Though oddly, it's a little heavy on the left channel. I can't figure out what does that.
I think it's the configuration of the microphone itself.
It may be.
Oh, and if I'm talking the other side, then it sounds like we're in stereo, eh?
If I lean closer, I'm louder.
Oh,
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
boom. All right, Tim, when you hear this sentence, let me know if you still think the missus is low. Because it's movie sign.
Is it about that time?
It is. It is that time of March here and everything.
It could just be that I'm not very loud tonight, which is entirely possible.
That could be. Which is rare for you.
I know.
Play that funky music.
All right. Let's do this thing.
Bombs and BAnts. Bombs and BAnts.
All systems go.
Bombs and BAnts.
Defiance.
Bombs and BAnts.
This rebel has a cause.
Bombs and BAnts.
We begin as wanderers, and we are wanderers still.
Welcome, everyone, to the 133rd live edition of Bombs and Bants and Wednesday Rants. As always, I'm your dedicated and humble host, John Wilder, coming to you from the penthouse control room of the majestic Wilder Industries skyscraper. With me, as always, is Mark.
Hey, everyone.
And the missus.
Am I louder now?
Well, we will see. Tim will give us more feedback, and we will have it. So I got to say, number one, hit the like button and subscribe. I don't even know if there is a like button anymore. They're changing everything. And I've got to say, I promise that this is really going to be a great episode. I'm 100% sure. Never in my life have we had more content to go through. We won't make it last that long. We'll just pack it in that same amount of time. So the missus, I know you got funny stuff, so shoot.
I was just going to say, we're not going to be like Democrats watching the debate on Thursday night going, oh, God, when's it going to end? It
No,
won't be like,
not,
okay, all right.
not on this show.
Okay. I do
I'm a
have
professional.
funnies. There's the first one, our 4th of July humor.
Yes. I actually made that joke in my post today, so keep going.
Well,
I
you're
like
nearly as old as Thomas Jefferson, so.
it. Hmm.
Yeah.
You know what you know who his father's name was?
What's that?
Thomas Jefferdad.
Here's our second one. This is me.
Yes, they really do.
Hot weather humor.
Hmm.
I felt like that for days. When
This
you
is
walk through the house and the AC's cranked up and running good, and you can't see out of any of the windows because they're all fogged because it's so humid outside. God, it's like living in a rainforest.
So sweatier than it's more humid than Hunter Biden's crankshaft case.
And the last one. A little bit of debate humor.
Yep. Well, we'll have a lot of debate.
Give them
going
both a
on.
Roku remote. The first one to start a movie gets to be president.
So everybody who has seen the debate,
Raise
we're
your
not gonna
hand.
talk. Yeah, raise your hand. Oh, everybody. Okay, no. We're not talking about the debate itself. We're talking about the fallout from the debate. So I have. Let's start us off. First, I guess, Mark, was it a good week?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just kind of so excited with all the material that we have. I just want to just burst out. And you're feeling well? Everything's good?
Oh, yeah. No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. All right. So, the first
The new
big
dog
announcement-
the new dog is coming along nicely. And here he is right now. Running by like the maniac he is. Yes, you. I was talking about you.
We think it's a demented corgi, but that's
Well, he's
that's
part terrier, part corgi.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, carrying on, take us into Conversation Street.
Oh, sure.
And now it's time
could
for
trick
us
it.
to take down the smooth sidewalks of Conversation Street.
And we paid so much money for Richard Hammond to do that for us. Anyway, talking about not the debate, but again, the fallout from the debate. And Codex notes that the new dog was very cute. So,
He's dangerously cute.
yeah. So it's been nearly a week since the debate, and how's it gone for Joe? So I've got several bullet points to get through, and then I'll toss it out to be mauled upon like a pork chop in a piranha tank. Odds are, this is bullet point number one. Odds are 73% he drops out of the race, according to the betting site Polymarket. Politico, NBC, New York Times, Tucker Carlson, The Hill, The Atlantic, and Al Jazeera are all calling the debate a disaster. And in fact, Tucker Carlson was indicating that Barack Obama privately is indicating that Joe has got to go, and he's going to go have a conversation with him. I've got some information from the salt mines. The salt mines, if you are unaware, is that corner of the internet where people are really not believing what's going on.
That's the new dog.
I didn't think anyone asked him a single thing. And
Everyone's entitled to Dex's position.
yeah, his name is Dexter. Yes, just like the serial killer. All right. The main problem is that we desperately need Biden to do every single interview he can to show that Biden is not losing it, but this can't be done without Biden losing it. Someone just asked that at the White House press briefing. Essentially, Biden's down the hall right now. Then why doesn't he come talk to us himself to soothe our concerns? Today at the press conference, they asked,
He's too
"Is
busy
he
doing
awake?"
parkour.
Yeah. So if you read the salt mine from the leftists when they're online, it is truly amazing. Additionally, today Joe came out and blamed it on his round the world trip to D-Day and the G7, even though the G7 trip was a full week before the debate. I
More
mean,
than
it
that,
takes
it's like
you,
11 days.
yeah, and it's not like he's flying coach. Okay, he's he's got a bed on wheels. Um, I'm not going to talk about Trump on that one. Anyway, headline: absolutely not planning on quitting the race. If you that's in a headline, pretty much they're thinking about it. Another headline: the only Democrat who could beat Trump is Michelle, or Big Mike, as many call her. Carl Bernstein, the water carrier for the left, who was so happy to bring down Tricky Dick Nixon. We have a problem. So the question I have for Conversation Street: is it Jover? And do you see how I know that? Jover. You like that? I should trademark it. And if so, who's next and why is it inexplicably Kamala? Today's betting poll, right as I was writing this, 59.5% Trump will be the next president, 18.7% Kamala, 9.6% Biden. Biden is down 27% in one week. Trump's up 5.7. So carry on. The meat is out there. What's going to happen, Mark?
You know, I've been reading these different stories and stuff as well. Some of those that you mentioned about Michelle. You know, we've hazarded a guess in the past that somehow Michelle would try to get into this. And if you look at her behavior, I think it sort of suggests that that may have been a plan all along, because she's kept out of any sort of campaigning for Biden. She's kept her head down and everything. And
you mean she's wearing loose clothing?
she's kept her head down to not attract attention.
How dare you?
And the suggestion is that she could, you know, if there gets to be a fight, because obviously Kamala isn't going to give up without a fight. But if there's a fight against between different Democrats, as he was going to try to take Biden's place, she could then step in and sort of as a neutral, with air quotes, and offer herself, of course, as her civic duty and just for her love of the United States, in as a replacement. Now, I don't think Kamala is going to stand for it. She's so close to being president that I think that there's no way that she would voluntarily give it up.
Okay, so what are the odds? So what are the odds it's the 25th Amendment? So, and I think this is what the people on the right should do, is push on the 25th Amendment to have Biden removed. Then Kamala becomes president. Then they've got to run her. They simply have to run her. The missus?
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, I think the 25th Amendment removal would have to come from Biden's cabinet, not from Congress. I mean, it's really out of their hands.
But the Congress can start pushing.
I think it's really out of their hands, and I don't think they should push it. I mean, frankly, the longer that Biden hangs in, I think the better it is for Trump.
Jim notes Dems nominate someone other than Biden or Cackles. Then Biden resigns. Thus, Cackles gets to be the first black woman president for a month or two. Codex, cage match. And Jim would buy a ticket. The missus, you've been quiet, except for the dog.
I know, except for the dog. I'm refereeing a canine cage match down here as we speak. They have found a squeaky ball. One runs, the other chases. I don't know. And my feeling about that is this: is that for the side that squawks, ruining our democracy, to just shoehorn someone in there to the nomination seems a little, I don't know, anti-democratic, bypassing the entire nominating process as we've done it.
The argument.
Yeah.
Well, I would point out that the Democrats have never cared about what the people think.
Oh, I know. That's why they have the whole superdelegate thing. Otherwise, Hillary would never have gotten the nomination in 2016. But, again, they are the ones who squawk about destroying democracy. But when the push comes to shove, no, we'll just put the person in there we want in there. Even though they did have a challenger to Biden. And I don't know what happened to him. He might have fallen in the ocean for all I know. Haven't heard about Dean Phillips in a long time.
I thought when you said challenger to Biden, I thought you were talking about Hickey Neely.
No, actually, Dean Phillips. They did have a challenger on the Democrat side, but I think he lasted, a month or so?
All right, and Quizzer says whoever does the fastest Biden diaper change live on the View wins that nomination. he said the job, but I'm going with nomination there. Yep. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. So how does this turn out in November? Who's going to be on the ticket, Mark?
For the Democrats, I don't know. I just know behind the curtain, it's going to be Obama pulling the strings.
Yep.
But my guess is they'll have to make some sort of deal with Kamala.
See, I
They will.
don't know about that, because it seems to me that maybe for the past week, there's been a big fight going on in the background between the Obama people and Jill Biden.
Yeah, but they can escort Lady Macbeth off stage pretty quick.
But they're there now. And he's got a lot of money in his war chest. And his campaign name is on all those checks. And if the Democrats want that, they're going to have to make a deal with him. And I don't know that she wants to deal. I think she likes going to state dinners.
Now, please don't make a joke about the ballots already being pre-printed with Joe's name on them, because that might get us kicked off of YouTube. So don't make a joke about that.
I was not making a joke about that. I meant the campaign checks all have his campaign's name written on them.
Okay.
That's what I was saying.
Because we
all
know
the money that has flowed into the presidential coffers have gone to his campaign.
Because we know that every election ever has been fair and good. There's been no shenanigans ever in any election in history. We know that because I've been told that. All right. So, Mark, did you answer who was not going to be on the ticket?
Well, I said I think they'd have to make a deal with Kamala. I don't know. I still, I don't know. I just have a gut feeling that Michelle Obama is going to somehow be thrust forward. I don't know whether she'll actually, actually do it or not. But I somehow have a feeling that maybe that was a plan, at least at one point, because all this makes me, doubly suspicious of why they held the presidential debate so early. And it's got to be because they knew there was a problem with Biden. They wanted to expose and push him out, and yet still have time for somebody else to enter the race.
So I'm with you on that, Mark. Is that they didn't want just anyone to enter the race, though, because they don't want people to vote. They want to put the person in there that they want in there, the party wants.
So the missus, who is that? Who's going to be the top and bottom of the ticket?
Hell if I know.
And the answer is, are you ready?
Is it Gavin Newsom?
No, it's Obama Clinton. Hillary will take the Veep slot.
I don't know.
Let's put it this way.
I don't know if Hillary could push her ego down enough to take the number 2 spot.
No, keep in mind, what happens to enemies of Hillary. So
that's true.
Well, maybe it'll be something really screwy, like Hillary coming in to run for president with Obama as vice president, because I don't know if he's prohibited from being vice president.
He is.
Yeah, because he can't be in line of succession.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to meet all the qualifications for president.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he's still going to be just stuck in the background as a puppet master.
Well, not that he met all the qualifications for president before, but that's another story. Mark, are you ready?
Am I ready?
Are we done with Conversation Street?
Yep. It's time for 2 minutes of guns in 1 minute.
Are you ready, Mark?
I guess so.
All right.
In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so this week's topic is going to be bullet setback, which is basically where the bullet gets pushed further back into the case than it should be. Generally, this happens under two different circumstances. One is that a
15
bullet
seconds.
will misfeed. Well, the cartridge will misfeed somehow as it's being pushed into the chamber. The bullet will catch on something, and then it gets shoved back into the cartridge. Another, that one's pretty
30
clear. And I think
seconds.
most people are smart enough to, toss the cartridge after that, not try to shoot it. But the other one that comes up that's going to be more subtle is with a daily carry gun, where you're
45
perhaps
seconds.
unloading it and reloading it constantly. And what happens is people typically will just get sort of lazy and just push that same bullet back in on the top of the magazine each time. So it keeps on getting fed in. And each time there's a little bit of drag on that bullet, it pushes it back.
Very well done, Art. Impressive. The missus, or were you familiar with that topic at all?
No, not at all.
That's a very good one. Very informative.
I
Thank
was.
you.
Mhm.
But that's just me. The only way a bullet leaves the chamber of my gun is when it goes pew pew pew, or maybe not. The
Does
missus,
it sound like this?
the missus. Since you are the lead to the jackassery part of the show, take us away.
Oh, is it that time?
It is.
This is Neil Young. And I'm proud to present my Brain Jackass of the Week.
I thought the jackass was going to be prematurely done there for a minute. I was a little concerned about him. It's the humidity. Makes jackasses fluffy too. All right, so the jackasses this week, well, they're pretty much what you might think they are. They're all Democrats, and they're all in denial. This first guy, I gotta look his name up here real quick, is historian Alan Lichtman. He has successfully predicted past presidential election winners based on key characteristics. Says it would be a mistake for Democrats to replace Joe Biden. And here's what he has to say.
First, how do you spell his name?
Lichtman. Lichtman.
Okay.
That's him.
Yeah,
He sniffs his own farts. He's pretty proud of himself. So here's his jackassy quote.
It's a huge mistake. They're not doctors. They don't know whether Biden is physically capable of carrying out a second term or not. Remember, a lot of folks were saying the same thing about Ronald Reagan, who was, 73, and age was very different then. And they said, he's not capable of carrying out another term. He won 49 states. So this is all foolhardy nonsense. The same pundits and pollsters who led us down the primrose path in 2016 are giving the Democrats horrible advice. This proves what I've been saying for years.
So why is it they always trot out Ronald Reagan?
Mm-hmm. Because
he didn't stand up on a national stage with his mouth gaping open and drool running down his face, probably having soiled himself behind the debate podium like certain other presidential candidates who will go unnamed.
There you go.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So A. Lichtman.
Uh-huh.
The ghoulish looking A. Lichtman. So who's number two?
Our friend and neighbor, Joy Reid. Love her hairdo. Looks fantabulous. I'll just let her dig her own grave here.
Yeah, I can relate to having a cold. I have a negative COVID test and a slight cold as well, so I understand not feeling well. And obviously, Joe Biden comes in with certain deficits. He has a stutter. It is more difficult for him to communicate for that reason. So there's a lot to mitigate the way that he speaks, and you can understand it. And we've observed him for a long time. That said, I too was on the phone throughout much of the debate with Obama world people, with Democrats, with people who are political operatives, with campaign operatives. My phone really never stopped buzzing throughout. And the universal reaction was somewhere approaching panic.
So much to unpack in that heaping load of horse hockey. All right.
All right.
So
the poll is now open.
First of all, he didn't have a cold. He sounded like that for 3.5 years. He didn't have a cold. Secondly, Joe Biden's been a politician for 50 years. You ever heard him stutter? Not a once. I don't know if he stuttered if he was a kid. Not a stutterer now. Whatever it is, he fixed that problem. Not a stutterer. None of those things have any bearing on what he sounded like on Thursday night. Or for the past 3 years.
I did hear him stutter once, but he was doing karaoke of my Sharona.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. So
and then, of course, then she had to say, well, I was on the phone all night talking to important people because I'm so important. I was talking to Obama.
Yeah, you should humble bragged.
Yes, the humble brag. Yes.
That were texting Obama.
Yeah.
Because they have the same hairstyle. But, I didn't say that. Oh, Quizzer says, it's Lichtman. Not even close. Tim Turner says 2. And Codex Lichtman. Wetzel Lichtman. Mark.
I think I'm going to go with Lichtman too, because the what's her face from MSNBC was, that was right after the debate, and I think she was still trying to feel which direction the wind was going to blow politically for Biden, so that's why she's waffling in that case. But at least she, acknowledged that all these important people thought that Biden really messed up more than just his pants. So I'm gonna go with Lichtman. I mean, that one, obviously he's had time to think about it, and he's just gaslighting everybody.
And who am I to stand in the way of what Barack Obama really loved the most? A mandate. So I'm not going to stand in the way of this mandate. The answer is the Jackass of the Week goes to historian A. Lichtman.
And this has been the Brain Jackass of the Week. He's such a jackass, he gets to clap twice.
That's a whole lot of jackass.
I don't know. Clap. Do you think he actually has enough dates to get the clap twice?
But at least he doesn't have the sound of one hand clapping. I'll just say that. Oh man, I've never used a Zen cone for a punchline, but there we have it. We've fallen that low. You know what? I think we've been pacing this perfectly because it's time for.
I gotta figure out what's causing that problem.
I believe that probably the entire software program was made by Boeing.
That could be.
Anyway, speaking of Boeing, NASA announces that the Boeing Starliner will be up, rolling the dice, another few weeks because it's totally fine, and they change missions like this all the time, and not all because the Starliner is utterly broken.
And besides, the astronauts are having a great time in space. They packed extra.
Yes. Mark, why can't Boeing keep airplanes flying, and why can't they manage to land spaceships?
I'm going to go with diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Ooh. The missus, do you think they're saving the Starliner return until Elvis stages a comeback tour?
That must be it.
They caught in a trap. No way out. Okay, speaking of NASA, NASA plans to crash the space shuttle into the Pacific Ocean in 2031.
On purpose?
On purpose, yes. They're planning on it. Mark, is this the real cause of the housing bubble?
A housing bubble? That's more like a bird. A big. It'll be definitely a big splash, but sort of like an explosion, really. So it's not really a bubble bursting. It's more. That's a fiery death. I'll just put it that way.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
I think that's where the housing market's going to go, though, too. A big, flaming turd falling from heaven to the ground.
The missus, how many South American fishing boats will it take out?
7.5.
Half. How do you take that? I'm not
And
gonna
everyone
ask.
knows it.
Well, it's more likely it's going to hit Chinese fishing boats. So
Yeah, and this is actually an aside. I'm like, why not push it up into a higher orbit and leave it there for the Chinese to inhabit? Because somebody's going to have a space program at some point. Quizzer says something tells me they'll miss their target, but only if Boeing was involved. In this case, it's not Boeing. It's SpaceX that won the contract for like $800 million. So, all right. Breaking news.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at another thing because I was going to say, hey, did you hear that Boeing is going to bring a new car to market? There it goes. Exactly as planned.
Breaking news.
In breaking news, the DHS and FBI issue warnings about large 4th of July events as targets for, and I quote, bad actors. Mark, by bad actors, do they mean Mark Hamill?
Yeah, definitely. Pretty much anybody that works for Disney anymore.
I like that. The misses. Are these different bad actors than the ones they're warned us about every year since 2001?
Are you sure those were the bad actors? Because I thought those were bad actors we weren't supposed to talk about. No, we're just not supposed to draw pictures of them. My bad.
Okay. Gavin Newsom has signed a bill allocating $12 million in reparations for Black Californians. Mark, is that like $5.44 per Black person?
Probably. Is it just open to residents of California? Because it might go up to 10.
The missus, why not give them a Happy Meal at McDonald's instead? Then
because that's not enough money to be able to afford a Happy Meal at McDonald's in California. Like $15 or something like that.
Yeah, they'd definitely have to increase it, probably a 25 or 30 million.
I kind of like this doing our podcast. Sound of dog fights in the background. It adds a certain ambiance.
Kind of like the next story. Nigeria plans to bring their gold reserves back to Nigeria because the Nigerians think the UK banks are too risky. Mark, is this what the Nigerian prince really wanted?
Well, yeah, I mean, sort of. I mean, but not their gold. They wanted other people's gold. What they were supposed to do is tell you that they were going to put gold in the bank, but they needed you to put gold in first. So you put the gold in first, and then they were going to bring it back home, and then you find out that they never put the gold in, and so it was your gold that was gone.
It's
those
puppy ASMR time.
But here's puppy ASMR. The concerns in the background here, though, is that people don't no longer trust that these central banks, both and this is not just the Bank of England, but also the New York Fed. They don't trust that they actually still have the gold.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
Germany, gosh, I can't remember when it was. I think it was about a decade ago, maybe a little bit longer. Had made a bunch of noise about repatriating their gold that was in the Bank of England, and there was it caused quite an issue, and finally there was an arrangement where they would get a little bit back and take the Bank of England's word that the rest of it was there.
The missus, do you think the Nigerians would take it in Target gift cards?
Do not redeem. Do not redeem.
The butthurt is strong. The Supreme Court noted that the President of the United States has substantial immunity from prosecution for official acts. Immediately, people on the left called for Don't get us in trouble with the comments, anybody. You too as well. With drone strikes on political figures.
What'd
Mark,
Bono ever do to you?
Yeah, Mark, should we call this
He knows what he did.
Should we call this the Kathy Griffin doctrine?
Okay, I think I missed something in that. In your question.
So the Supreme Court,
yeah, it had said that there was
substantial immunity,
immunity for
the
official
left,
acts. Okay.
and the left then called for lots of hateful things to happen to people.
Okay, I understand now. All right, yes, it is the Kathy Griffin effect.
And the missus?
Yeah.
Why isn't the FBI interested in all those comments from the left?
Because the left only speaks harmless, truthful things. And they're always altruistic.
Mm-hmm.
And their death threats are just harmless shenanigans.
There you go. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Also, the Supreme Court ruling caused a delay of Donald Trump's sentencing in the New York case until after he's officially named on the Republican nominee. Mark, are they just upping the ante to make the third act even more enjoyable?
Well, yeah, especially now that you're looking at Biden maybe not being very popular. I mean, if he doesn't withdraw and decides he's going to push through and to the election, they have to do something to make sure that Trump doesn't win.
There you go.
So speaking of which, did you hear, this was just breaking news today, that the state of Missouri is suing the state of New York for election interference.
Ooh.
Yeah. Claiming that they have disenfranchised the voters in the state of Missouri by not allowing them to have a fully informed and fully capable of campaigning candidate in Donald Trump.
Well, what the Biden campaign today was arguing, you ready for this one? That negative editorial reviews were election interference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Literally a thing they said. But your question has nothing to do with that. What are your bets on the sentence? Donald Trump's sentence.
I think they wanted to push it back because whatever it was that they were planning, they decided now they can't get away with. So what might that have been that this would have changed?
So what sentence? You got to bet.
Well, I think they were planning to put him in jail, but I think they're rethinking that now. So does that mean they're going to put him in jail harder, or they're not going to do it at all? Which way do you? I don't know.
The answer is probation.
You think?
The answer is probation.
House arrest.
All right. No, just probation. Supervised by the Secret Service.
Yeah.
All right. In a second Supreme Court story, the Chevron deference, that's an over 40-year-old ruling where the Supreme Court said,
hey,
if the yeah?
Sorry, not haying at you.
Okay.
I'll turn the mic off.
Okay. If the regulators said it's so, who are we to argue? That doctrine was overturned, making many, many regulators very, very sad today. Mark, what should those poor regulators do instead of write hundreds of pages of regulations about things like bump stocks or what a gun is that they don't understand?
They don't even have to write them. It's just how they feel on Tuesday.
Well, that's Mark's question.
Oh, sorry, Mark. I was busy yelling at the dog.
Well, I mean, first of all, sorry, this is probably going to repeat a comment I left on one of your posts, but, Congress is the one that's really enjoyed this because they can write really vague laws, not having to take a real firm stance on one thing or another. And then they can always blame it on the regulators later when people find out what the law actually does. So that's the gist of it. Congress, frankly, I don't think it's really going to change anything Congress is still going to write vague laws, and they're still going to say that the secretary of such and such gets to make up the specifics. Because if you look, that's what they've been doing for about the last 10 years is just saying, okay, in the law, we're going to say that the secretary of whatever department or agency gets to draft the rules. And that's where it's gone. So all those people that were writing it are still going to be writing. It's just they won't be interpreting a vague statute. They'll be following the statute's imperative to write regulations.
The missus, is this Supreme Court decision correct or technically correct?
It's technically correct, which, as we all know, is the best kind of correct.
That's the best kind of correct.
Yes.
All right. Tractor Supply has said no to DEI. They fired all of their DEI staff, decided they'd ignore their carbon pledges, and just concentrated on selling farm stuff to farmers. Because of that, all of the black people at tractors and lawyers are planning on suing them. Mark, is this how they'll use the Gavin Newsom $5.44 that they're going to get?
Absolutely, because when they pull it all together, then they'll have $12 million.
They have about 350. The missus, how many refunds?
No refunds.
No refunds. From London, and this is the final Think Real Fast story. From London, the Warwickshire police have arrested a man for carrying a very teeny, I think 2 inches long, toy replica of Link's sword from the Zelda video game series. According to police, there are no records of how many people are killed with toy video game swords each year. Mark, do you think the English are regretting not having a Second Amendment?
You know, to be honest, from what I see from England, I would guess that probably about 90% of them don't, because they're so propagandized.
So you're saying the good ones moved here already?
I don't know, but I'm just saying they're not. They don't even know what they've gotten themselves into.
All right,
but they feel good about themselves, and that's
do.
the important thing.
The missus, should the police have tased him to teach him a lesson?
Yes.
You got a license for that?
He was resisting. Stop resisting!
Well, that ends Think Real Fast.
Think real fast.
Jim notes if it saves even one life. One life. Well, does anyone have any big 4th of July plans other than not sweating? That's mine.
No, actually, I really don't. I'll probably be barbecuing something.
Mm-hmm.
That's my prediction.
Okay. The missus, do you have any 4th of July plans?
My plan is to sleep a lot.
Your plan shall be granted. Absolutely. And my plan is to sleep some as well. So I think it's going to be a good time. I think this was, as I promised, an amazing show. Probably one of our best ever. But I always say that, don't I? Anyway.
And everyone knows it.
Anyway, any parting words, Mark?
Parting words. Aloha.
Well, the missus?
Mm-hmm.
On that note.
Hey, that wasn't technically a word.
He's technically correct, which is the best kind of correct.
It's the best kind of correct.
All right, once again, coming from Bombs and Bants and Wednesday Rants, I am John Wilder, signing off. Have everyone report back next week with all your fingers and toes.
And this is Mark. Everyone have a good Independence Day.
Kablooey! And we're out. Have a safe and happy 4th. Y'all come back now, you hear?
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my friggin' life.